Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator News. And today we've got some announcements of some new aircraft that are now available and some other cool stuff that's coming down the road. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future updates and future guides that will be coming down the road. Link to Patreon can be found in the description below. Okay, first up in new news today is the Lionheart Creations previews the new Learjet from Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is called a Learfan. This aircraft actually originated back in the 1970s by Learjet trying to come up with a very exotic and a very appealing to the upper class of private aircraft. With its incredibly odd design, you can see the tail there is just absolutely interesting with a push fan on the back. Now, this aircraft unfortunately never actually made it to commercial production, but we've got Lionheart Creations here working to bring it to life at least once more. And if we take a look at some of these screenshots, you guys can see that the work being done to it looks absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to see the final product of this aircraft. The odd shape alone just has me absolutely stumped at what this flight model and what the flight dynamics must be of this. I can't imagine this is a particularly friendly aircraft to fly without some pretty significant assistance from the flight computer. But we'll see. I don't know what all the autopilot systems are going to be available now. It looks like we are using either the G3000 or G1000 speed. Actually, it kind of looks like a G5000. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what's available with this aircraft. There's no mention of pricing or release as of yet. However, they do speak to the fact that they're working on things such as fuel lines appear when fueling the aircraft, as well as GPUs automatically connecting here on the ground, and an extensive use of frost on the aircraft. I can only assume that means up at flight altitude, better modeling what the icing on the control surfaces will look like. I am super excited to check this aircraft out. I love seeing these kind of planes that come from history that never really made it. You know, it'd be kind of, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to have that unique aspect of a plane that, you know, was actually created. It was built, it was tested, it just never actually made it to commercial production. So it's really got my attention here. When I saw this one, I was like, what the heck is this thing? But I know that with V-tails, they can be rather temperamental to fly. So when you take a look at this one, and let's actually find a couple more images of this aircraft from the real world. Here are some further images of the Learfan. It's like a tri-tail is what that looks like. And like I said, when you take in consideration that V-tail aircraft can be rather unforgiving, I can't imagine what this thing must be like to land. It must have a really, really low flare rate. Here's another interesting where you can really catch what, well, I guess that backwards tail or that bottom tail doesn't really go too low. It looks like it goes lower when you see it in flight. But this is going to be a very, very cool aircraft to fly. I actually can't wait to see this one. Here's a couple of them up in formation. And I'd really like to dive in deep on some research of this aircraft and find out why it never made it to production. The only thing I can think of is either the cost or, like I said, the flight model. It's got to have very, very odd flight dynamics. So really, really intrigued by Lionheart Creations development here, and I can't wait to see how it develops further. And next up on our list is the Mad Dog 80 from Leonardo Softhouse. They gave another update saying that advanced beta testing was in progress, and with the latest SDK released from Microsoft Flight Simulator, the aircraft now flies, quote, wonderfully in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So that is absolutely freaking fantastic news. I'm super excited about the MD-80. The Mad Dog is just such a cool looking aircraft in general. They also state that all aircraft systems are modeled with failures also now working. I think this will be probably the first aircraft really to truly model the failures based on what I have been reading in the last few weeks. Now, that's not to say, I guess it's the only one. We do have some failures modeled in the Flybywire A32NX, but I'm really interested, I guess we need more explanation before I go talking about that, as how many failures are we talking, and what's the severity and consequences of said failures. Let's take a look at some of these screenshots. As you guys can see here, they look absolutely amazing. I am so excited for this. I loved the MD-80 in X-Plane 11, and it's going to be absolutely wonderful with the graphics engine that's available in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think these things are going to be just absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to see this aircraft in action. This is definitely going to be one that I'm going to grab. Now, we don't have any kind of release date yet, unfortunately. I know everybody's waiting. We're just like sitting here on the top of our toes here. However, some things to take into consideration. They said the initial release will be a basic package, but made it a very detailed point to state that for those who don't like the idea of hearing the words basic package, to understand what that is including. Flight modeling and performance are tested matched against real aircraft tables in all systems. Avionics and tests are modeled and fully implemented. That means that this aircraft, even in its basic package, is modeled accurately from head to toe. So you really can't be too concerned about that terminology, and I think it really doesn't bother me at all. Now, there have absolutely been some releases in the past with other simulators where we hear early access or basic package or anything to hint at it's not as complete as it should be, is what I mean by that kind of verbiage. Yeah, that would give me a moment of pause. But so I'm really glad they clarified what basic package meant. With the later releases basically being upgraded engines, upgraded aircraft, with some increased performance and servicing. The other thing that I really liked to read was other functions confirmed to be included as a new FMS service package that will operate doors, stairs, external power, etc., whilst the aircraft will also be fully integrated with Microsoft Flight Simulator ecosystem. Example, the jetways. So you can use either the in-game controls to control your jetways, your catering carts, etc., or you can use the system that's available in the FMS. So it basically just depends on which route you want to go to configure the aircraft. I am super excited. The last thing that we touched with a feature list, this complete and confidence that things are progressing well. The Fly the Mad Dog X for Microsoft Flight Simulator could be one of the first jetliners released to this level of fidelity for the new simulator. I absolutely agree with what they've written here on FS Elite. Is totally perfect analysis of what this aircraft is. I think the only thing that's going to be coming side by side with this, as far as the fidelity level, based on what we know now, is the Phoenix A320. I think these two aircraft, hopefully, I'm really hoping that they come out sort of side by side. I hope their release dates are really nearby to each other, because I think that's really going to set the bar for future aircraft to be coming down the line for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Look at this exterior texture, dude. That looks so amazing. I love the detail that's being put into this. I mean, she looks old. I mean, the MD-80 it's an old aircraft, man. And I just, look at that. I can't wait. Although I have to say, I have always hated that light blue firewall panel. You see it a lot in the Russian MiGs and stuff in DCS World too. And I hate that light blue color. I don't know why they do that. And then here, obviously, we have from the hangar view, but I don't think any of the aircraft can look bad in the hangar view. I think my favorite image is going to be this one right here. And it just makes me go, ah. As you guys know, I fly American Airlines a lot on the simulator when I'm flying the A320. So to have another aircraft in my American Airlines fleet, I am super excited for. And I hope you guys are too. Stay tuned, because I am following the Mad Dog as closely as I possibly can. So coming out now, released, is the famous flyer number 1, the Beechcraft 17 Staggerwing. This aircraft was developed by both Microsoft Asobo as well as Coronado and is available for $14.99. The Staggerwing is an aircraft that was designed and built all the way back from the 1930s. I myself will definitely be purchasing this aircraft over the weekend and giving you guys a full flight review and my first impressions of the aircraft, although I have to say right out of the gate, I am super excited to fly this one. I know that Coronado doesn't always have the best reputation when it comes to the flight model, but myself personally, I absolutely enjoy flying their aircraft. Not every aircraft, in my opinion, has to be perfectly matched in flight modeled accuracy. Sometimes it's just fun to get into some of these old aircraft and tool around in them and just enjoy the fact that you're flying one. The overall textures of the aircraft coming from Coronado and Asobo both means that it's obviously going to be perfectly textured. The detail and reflection, as you can see here in the preview video here found on the FS Elite site, shows perfect detail and modeling on the outside. And again, I'm sure we can expect the same thing from the inside, but as you can see here, the kind of flights that we're seeing in the preview video is exactly what I love the Coronado aircraft for. To be able to go up and do things like this and not necessarily have to worry about all the fine details of what these aircraft require in the real world. Real-world biplanes can be quite a difficult thing to fly, so it's actually kind of nice to every now and then see one of these aircraft that just is targeted out to, I think, the average flyer. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that means it's going to be a simple aircraft to fly. We just don't know yet until I can hop in the cockpit, which we will definitely be doing later this weekend. But I did want to share, once I saw the images of it, I think it's a very cool-looking plane, and I'm sure that many of you will also enjoy this as well. I believe we can find this aircraft on the Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace. So stay tuned for a later review of this aircraft from your pal Overkill. And finally, the last piece of news that I wanted to announce to everyone is the Mixmugs TBM 930 improvement mod is well on its way to hitting the official release. However, for anybody who is subscribed to Mixmugs Discord, you can actually download a beta version, if you will, or early release version of the latest improvement modification. We're also going to be doing a full flight here in just a moment with the TBM 930 and its test version improvement mod, and determine whether or not there are any major issues that we need to be aware of, and obviously we'll be reporting those to Mugs. But I did want to let you guys know, as I know many of you feel the same way I do about the Mixmugs improvement mod for the TBM 930, that there was a test version ready and available for this aircraft if you choose to go that route. Anyways, guys, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video and found the content useful. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you did, and ring that bell for future notification. And as always, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.